Well, we started doing these homily series as a way of helping the parish move forward, not just to have a sense of direction and what we're about as a parish, that not just to have a series that has a cool title, but rather it's about a journey that we're trying to take the parish on into discipleship. The theme for this one, which is running throughout Lent and then into Easter, is kind of a play on what we're experiencing here at Saint Bede. It's a play on words for what we're experiencing here. Building. Because we're in the midst of, anybody who comes to the parish knows that we're in the midst of building a very large addition to the parish for our sake of our ministries. And people are very excited to see each step along the way of what's happening in the parish. But the larger question is, what kind of parish are we building? And what kind of parish and church are the Gospels calling us to be? Because ultimately, if we build a building but don't radically change how people experience us as a community, then we've just built spaces, and anything you build is eventually going to collapse and go away. But if we really ask the Holy Spirit to build us into a deeper sense of the church that He's calling us to be, that lasts forever. That's the building, that's the church against whom the darkness cannot prevail, and against whom the gates of heaven will not be defeated. That promise that Christ made to the universal church. So we're looking at then helping people in terms of, once we've set this vision about where we want to go, inviting people to join us along the way, to help them actually to literally take up their spiritual hammers and saws and help us actually build this kind of parish, this kind of way of being church in the community. And then always connecting that into the gospel and the larger mission, the larger word that Christ is calling us and the church is calling us to during this Lenten and Easter time. We're not trying to impose this over on top of the readings. We're trying to draw out from the readings. What does God want us to know? What does the liturgy want us to know? And what do we want people to do? Because without those two things, there's no direction. It's just, hey, that was a nice homily, and it goes in one ear and out the other. But it's challenging people to actually take what they're hearing, challenge their life with it, and then how do they grow as a disciple in the next week, the next month? So that's what I really want people to continue to challenge themselves. How does this affect my journey as a disciple? How does it affect my journey as trying to live my Catholic faith at a deeper level? I hope they take us up on this whole change of culture that we've been talking about in terms of the seasons of the heart. But what my hope is that we grow the folks who have not been involved in the parish in terms of this next season, the heart to serve. Because the things that we're asking people to do in terms of the heart to serve are specifically things that make us a more welcoming, a more inviting community, that invite other people to this journey together. And so we can't do this on their own. Every parish generally has about 10% of their parishioners who are volunteering for stuff. We need to energize the other 90%. The folks that have, for whatever reason, they think, oh, well, maybe somebody's doing that, so they don't need me. Well, we need everyone. And we need people to see that this is not something extra. It's not something where we don't have enough laborers. It's one of the expectations of being a disciple to serve the mission of the larger church. And not just the mission of what we need here at this parish of Saint Bede's, but we are formed in that understanding of service so that we can begin to look at how we're serving the gospel in the larger context of our lives, in marriages and work, and if you're in retirement, literally on the golf course, if that's what your retirement's about, how I can serve the church, how I can serve the gospel in all of these other aspects. It has to be nurtured first in service to the parish.